Hello, my good friends. Anxiety and procrastination go hand in hand. When we feel anxious about something, we'll put it off. Sometimes this is obvious to the person who's experiencing it. For instance, if you put off your driving test, perhaps you're scared of failure or getting hurt while driving, or you're too nervous to ask the person maybe you have a crush on or something. However, anxiety and procrastination link isn't always so clear to the sufferers and observers. Here are the different types of anxiety related procrastination that are often overlooked or misunderstood. As you see each example, ask yourself if you have any tasks that you're putting off that fit these categories. At the end of the video, I'll explain why acknowledging your anxiety can help you, and I'll provide you some tips that I think may help. One, when you're blaming someone else for your inaction, this is like a very big one that happens to most of us. Anxiety can manifest in typical ways, or it can look like anger or hopelessness. If there's something you're putting off due to anxiety, you might find yourself blaming your partner, your co-workers, or parent in action instead of acknowledging your anxiety. There might be an extent to which others are contributing to your problem or getting in the way, but focusing on this can obscure self-responsibility and give you an excuse not to do the proactive behaviors that are available to you. But that feels stressful and anxiety reducing. Number two, when you're anxious about a task you have a lot of experience doing successfully. Sometimes people get anxious about completing tasks they have a lot of experience with, particularly if some time has passed since the last time they've did the task. If the stakes are higher, or the evaluation of their work will take different form than it usually does. Notice when you're anxious about a task you've done many times before, and ask yourself what's making the task feel different this time. To identify the tasks that falling into this category, think about basic skills involved in a task like filing in a form or studying for a test, even if the particulars or domains are very different. To give yourself a reality check, you can remind yourself of all the objective evidence of your skills that you have amassed in the past. Number three, when anxiety about a small aspect of a project is blocking your whole progress on the whole thing. You might feel nervous about all aspects of a task, but perhaps you feel nervous about just one aspect or just a few. For instance, you might not want to make a phone call, but the rest of the task isn't practically nervous wracking once you've gotten past that step. In these scenarios, people sometimes label themselves as being anxious about a task globally when 90% of the steps they are not anxious about. Seeing this clearly can help you balance your thinking, make you feel more empowered. Number four, when you feel a strong resentment about having to do the task at all. Anxiety gets camouflaged when other emotions you're experiencing are more dominant. I already mentioned when you're angry and blaming, specifically other people. Another scenario is when you feel general resentment about something you need to do that isn't specific about a specific person. For instance, you feel resentment about doing aspects of a task that you feel like is a waste of time, or when you need to comply with a system or procedures that don't feel logical, fair, or caring. When anxious people feel like a system doesn't work for them, it can trigger their general sense of not fitting in and the anxiety around that. Or when someone is very anxious about perfectly complying with all the rules. Procedures that feel onerous can trigger anxiety about achieving the perfect compliance they're aiming for. Number 5, when your anxiety is manifesting as perfectionism. Anxious people sometimes respond to their anxieties with perfectionism. When there's something they want to get really right, they might design tasks in a way that are over the top. This can cause a task that might be quite manageable if kept at a reasonable scale to feel completely overwhelming and trigger procrastination. However, often the anxious person doesn't see it that way. They're approaching the task over the top compared to how most people would approach it. They don't realize that the basic task itself isn't nearly as difficult as what they've turned it into. Now, the reason why acknowledging your anxiety can help. If you have anxiety, you will have some strategies you can use to move past it. If you don't, there are plenty of books and resources out there to help. Once you've labeled a problem as anxiety related, then you can use your anxiety management strategies. For instance, you might break a task down into smaller chunks to make it more manageable. You'll still feel anxious, but doing little bits at a time can help that to feel more tolerable. For me, I find that exercise helps me cope during the week in which I'm doing tasks that trigger my anxiety. Even doing tasks on my phone while walking slowly on the treadmill helps as well. If you're blaming others for your procrastination, then acknowledging the role of your own anxiety can help you take self responsibility and kick your butt into gear. Sometimes talking about your anxiety can help you have productive conversations about issues that need solving, such as when you're making decisions with your spouse or partner. Expressing vulnerability can trigger other people to respond in ways that are more caring, provided you don't overuse this strategy. Acknowledging your anxiety can help you be more self compassionate instead of beating yourself up for your procrastination. You can treat yourself kindly over whatever is working you up. There are times when you're asking for support to get through an anxiety provoking task is appropriate to really be surprised at how many people would actually be willing to help you. Anyway, guys, if you like this content, click the subscribe button, hit the like button, and show me some love. And